Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Buried. Yeah, yeah, I'm here. It's just to see what happens next in this game. Nothing that much happened. We're gonna get a refresher right here. I was gonna refresh it myself, or tell you guys what happened last time, but I guess we're gonna get here. Respect the dead. You and 36% of players left Tony's body where you found it. You and 76% of players were upfront with Dennis about Denny's truth death. You and 50% of Dennis. Okay, so we didn't see this before. All I know is that it said chapter 1 complete, and I got mad, and I just decided I was going to quit it, edit it, and ta-da, video. And, yeah. So, we got some rare choices here. Left Tony's body where they found it, No helmet or anything. You and 76% of players were up front with Dennis about Tony's death. That's a lot of people. You and 55% of Dennis believed his stories, not so. You and 25% of players ran away from the ringing sound. Okay, that is interesting. The only reason I did that was because I thought it would be interesting to see where it takes me. Meaning the ringing sound was becoming annoying to these characters, so kind of decided to go here. Oh boy, big sound effect. Okay, we're in a bunker now. Interesting. We're standing on the thin platform of what looks like a fancy subway. The rails look well used, but not old. There are small overhead lights that are very dim, as if they are running on emergency power. The dim overhead lights are a blessing, but the size of the place makes me feel vulnerable. Staring ahead, the tunnel seems to be endless. It's almost dizzying. But there's a small light further ahead, and then a space that breaks the monotony of the tunnel's curved surface onto the platform, maybe. Why are we in a subway tunnel? Dennis, what do you think this is? Why are we in a subway tunnel? Dennis doesn't answer. The reality of what we are seeing is sinking in. Whatever this place is, it is buried way underground. That seems impossible to me, making anything that's on the other side of this tunnel dangerously as far as I'm concerned. But of course, we are going to go on. Human curiosity is going to see to that. Also, the ringing noise is louder down here. It's much more solid now, and there's some other sound. Something like the faint hum of machinery. What's your take on this, boss? You think we're safe down here? Dennis asks. Not at all. This is what I think to myself, but I don't want to let Dennis see that I'm rattled. While he seems to be limping along much better than when we first stumbled into this place, he's still in a rough shape. I'm leading him, and I should probably make him feel confident in that. I'm not sure, this place is creepy. I told Dennis you were scared. Think you can officially say that we have no business here, I continue. If I want the truth, I'm a little frightened to a place like this buried under the woods. Well, it doesn't just feel right. I feel like we've moved into a trap or something. My lack of confidence is mirrored in Dennis's face. If he wasn't uneasy before, he is now. From the look of it, we can go either left or right. The left is slightly lit, and the right is not so much. This makes me uneasy because I get the sense that one wrong turn in a place like this would have us wandering for hours. Suddenly I jerk my head to the right as I hear an unmistakable sound of someone walking. Do you hear something? I ask Dennis, my eyes straining to see anything in the darkness. Not sure, he says. Maybe it kind of sounds like footsteps. Oh, wait a moment, the sound doesn't come again. So those are our options. To the left, a flickering lights indicating that we are at least be able to see. There's anything hum of machinery, a sign of life. To the right, it's darkness, but we also heard footsteps in that direction. Let's go left. I want to go left. I don't want to, bait myself into some sort of trap with a monster on the right. On the left, at least we can see where we're going, right? You decide to go into the lights. Seems smart to stay in the lights. Left it is. I ain't gonna let curiosity veer me off track here. That's the least I want to do. As we head left, the lights ahead are like a beacon in the dark, luring us forward. Someone left the lights on for us, Dennis says, trying to be funny but creeping me out instead. I wonder if that's a good or bad thing, I say. Let me check my recording right quick. Oh, this is straining my throat. I haven't read this much in a while out loud. Oh boy, this is gonna be fun. I mean, at least it's getting somewhere. I like that. As we near the lights, I hear a hum of machinery go louder, but it doesn't sound like any machine I've heard before. As the light increases, I use it to take an inventory of Dennis and his condition. While the bleeding seems to have stopped, the amount that has soaked into his pants and shirt has been beyond alarming. How much further can you walk? I ask him. Can you keep going? Yes, says Dennis. Let's walk into the deep tunnel that has no business being here. Now fully stepping into the light, I notice that the sound of machinery is coming from an area on the left side that is protected by a guardrail. Wisps of bright blue light dance on the walls as they leak out from whatever is below. I also notice a posted sign that says danger, severe radiation poisoning threat. I'm gonna step closer and take a look at this. It's worth taking a look at. Severe radiation poisoning threat. That scares me. We walk over the guardrail and peer down below. This is where that strange hum is coming from. Further down in the darkness, there's something that can only assume is some sort of power generator. There are tanks, pipes, valves, and sure, but there's just something odd about it. It looks like it doesn't belong here. Hey, Dennis, I'm nudging him. Do you see that? He gestures to the main pipe coming on the top, out of the top. As my eyes trace along it, it just disappears into the black. Floating mass. I rub my eyes and look again. The pipe goes up and into the sphere, but within the sphere is the deepest darkness I've ever seen, and the area around it seems twisted. Almost like a rip in space. I don't know much about whatever that thing is. I'm gonna call it that, because I messed it up. Dennis says. But I don't like being near it. I agree, and we take off the tunnel again, eager to be away from the pipe and those lights. As we walk away, I notice another structure coming into the view up ahead. We have to worry about radiation poisoning now. This is not good. This could become Fallout. And why is there radiation again? As we head further into the tunnel, we reach another platform. There's light coming from the platform, but like the overhead lights, they are dim, red emergency lights. I start to wonder if the explosion at the logging site caused a power outage in this place. Whatever this place is, the ringing noise that I originally thought was in my head is getting louder, and I'm starting to think it's some sort of alarm. When we come to the large open area ahead of the tunnel, it's further resembling a subway station. As much as I try to ignore the reality, it's unbearable, or undeniable. We have stumbled into some sort of high-tech transportation system that is buried beneath the forests of Kentucky. It makes absolutely no sense and creates an entirely new sort of fear as what we have walked into. I notice that Dennis can't seem to stop himself from shaking. His fear is mirroring my own. When we reach the large opening, we have to climb over the rails and up onto the platform. I have to help Dennis over the rails and then up this small utility ladder that is bolted into the opposite side of the travelway. When he reaches the large open area resembling a subway waiting area, he collapses on the floor and lets out a heavy breath. You know what, Dennis says? Exhausting. This is ridiculous. I quit. I'm not going any further. On top of worrying about my crew and the madness of wherever we are, I'm not in the mood for Dennis to act like a baby. I gotta get him up. I gotta get him up. I can't be easy with him. I'm ashamed that I'm getting irritated with him. Oh, you think I'm just relaxing here, he asks sarcastically. Sorry if I'm slowing your progress. Great plan you got here, by the way. His response makes my blood boil. Help him slowly. I can't stand the guilt anymore. A sappy apology comes out of my mouth before I can clamp my lipstick down against it. I'm sorry, I lost my temper. That's not what I meant for that to be. That was supposed to be inspirational, not like yell at him. It was uncalled for, but I'm under some stress here, and as I'm sure you can understand. He hesitates for a moment, and I'm sure that he'll ignore me, but he surprises me. I get it, he says. Apology accepted. As for sorry, I was being a jerk. Apparently, bleeding out makes you kind of high-strung. Dennis is always high-strung and about 2 harsh words away from trading punches with somebody. But I keep that to myself. We exchange an awkward look and put it behind us. It is no different than some argument we might have had a job site or have a few bears, not bears, a few bears bother us. Yeah, they're gonna come climbing up our tree we're, cutting down. One thing is for sure, I'd rather be arguing with him over a few beers than here in this nightmare. I reach down and help him to his feet, and then we get ourselves up onto the platform. Right in front of us, there's an entrance to a long hallway exiting the platform area. It's at this point that I realize those red emergency lights might be on for someone else who's actually supposed to be here. We stayed quiet during one part, but I want to yell out just to see if I can find anybody to use. Hello? Anyone here? I ask, my voice raised. I don't know what happened to my accent. Raised to almost a shout. There's not much of an echo. My voice falls flat like rock from the sky. I'm almost glad that I don't get an answer. Hearing anything else in the hollow silence would have given me a heart attack. The emergency lights continue to flicker overhead, casting a sick sort of pinkish light on everything. My mind is racing with what sort of place this might be. It's obvious it's not meant to be a secret, and if it is supposed to be a secret, there was a power outage recently. Maybe most of everyone has been evacuated. While I'm pondering this, a wave of nausea comes over me out of nowhere, and I lurch forward, vomiting all over the floor. Whoa, is all Dennis mutters, as he instinctively steps back. My insides feel like they're trying to escape. I put my hand out, looking for the wall, to lead on. Are you okay? Dennis asks, finally pulling himself together from surprise. Yeah, I'm barely gasping out. Yeah. I'm barely gasping out after a minute of the feeling subsiding. But where did that come from? Was it that weird power generator? Finally collect myself and stand back up, praying I never have that feeling again. Let's keep going, I say, wiping my nose with my sleeve. We step aside. It seems just as empty as every other place we've come through, weakly illuminated by every other overhead emergency light. I don't know why I added every other light. It's just me. We're standing inside the hallway that looks surreal for a moment. Okay, so I think that radiation sickness is kicking in. If we are sick with radiation. Okay, so we're in, like, an actual area now, not just a subway station. Well, it might be a subway station, who knows. The hallway reminds me of a hospital wing, but there's something not quite right about it. It's the first clean and tidy area I've ever seen since coming to In the Woods. It looks like it was recently in use, despite the dim emergency lights overhead. There are chairs against the walls, and the floor looks well cleaned, as do the walls. The ringing noise is definitely coming from here, and a small flashing red light along the ceiling seems to flash along with it. I'm like drooling as I say this. That ringing noise is an alarm, I say, if only to confirm my own thoughts. But for what, Dennis asks. And then he asks the question that has been on my mind since we fell in that hole. What is this place? We exchange a look that speaks volumes. We reach the end of the hallway and hear a sound like a large metallic grinding. This is followed by a clicking noise and then an unmistakable noise of a generator kicking on. Okay, where are we going? Okay, everything is back to normal now, it looks like. Just wanted to assume that. Without a warning, the facility jolts to life. The red glow of the emergency lights is suddenly replaced by bright white fluorescent ones. That the mechanical hum is oddly comforting. Somehow the power is being back to urges us on. It's then that I notice the ringing noise has stopped. So it had been an alarm. But for what? Just the power failure? We head down the hallway, the electrical hum of the lights sounding eerily overhead. Eerie overhead. Other than that, the place is dead quiet. The hall is about 100 feet long, with 2 main doors. One door opens onto a large room that looks like a conference room with a whiteboard and papers strewn about. Across the hallway, another door looks like a laboratory of some sort. Then it slumps against the wall in defeat and lets out a scary-sounding chuckle. Something funny, I ask? A dark and brooding panic starts to grip me. Dennis just keeps chuckling as he slides down to the floor. I'm just going to sit here a while. You look around. There's a look in his eyes that reminds me far too much of a dead animal on the side of the road. Oh, we can either enter the conference room or the lab. There might be some chemicals in the lab, or like meds in the lab by chance to help Dennis, maybe? The conference room might have some information about this place. I'm gonna go with the conference room, because if I can get information about this place and see what this place actually is, it might be helpful to know for later. A long table sits in the middle of the room, lined with series of chairs. It looks like something straight out of a showroom. A well-used whiteboard hangs on the wall, and there's scattered papers on the desk. Alright, let me check my face cam so everything is correct and I don't have to worry about anything. Look at the papers on the table, look at the whiteboard on the wall. The whiteboard on the wall is going to tell us absolutely nothing, but the papers on the table might. Most of the papers and printouts have codes, equations that all go way over my head. But there are also handwritten notes that don't make me feel any better about our situation. I read through them and see scrawled notes that say things like, last experiment failed, overdose before transport, level indicates cellular catabolism, question mark, more lead shielding. I want to look at the whiteboard, see what all the information I can get. Probably wasting time, though. These things that are scribbled on the whiteboard, mostly formulas and names. There are some things that are easy to understand, things like my blood go cold, subject number 6, cause of death, and whoa. Ideals for new delivery mode. Liquid come and say, what is going on? Outside in the hallway, I hear Dennis grunting. Head out of the room to see if he's still seated on the floor, but I don't get very fast because as I exit, a man comes rushing around the corner with an whoa! Automatic rifle at his hand. Probably shouldn't check the whiteboard. Should probably could have checked Dennis. It's hard to look beyond his rifle, but the man carrying it is young, with a messy dark hair. His skin is pale, that I wonder if maybe he lives down here. He has the look of a guy who's been cooped up for a little too long. Doesn't seem like the kind of person I'd trust with a gun in a stressful situation. As he sees us in the corridor, he screams and brings the gun up, and it's aimed directly at my head. Peaceful, or try to do something? I'm gonna try to be peaceful. Put my hands up into the air in surprise at how natural it feels to go into this surrender state. Maybe it's because it feels like a dream. Maybe it's because I feel like I'm snap awake if a maniac pulls the trigger. Who are you and how did you get in here? The man asks harshly. Before we can answer, he continues speaking. I don't recognize you. If you're here, you would have to sneak by the security mics in the entrance hall. What did I ask? I'm unable to think anything else to say. Who are you? The man says. Did you do this? The man's eyes. Wait. The man's eyes both, and I see something in his eyes. Something unsettling to me. He's scared, but we're just loggers. His eyes look distinct for a moment, and then he says, but for some reason, I'm pretty sure he knows I'm telling the truth. Someone knocked the power out, the man says. It's back on now, but if it was out long enough, well, we're in a heap of trouble. Was it you who sent you? Oh, no, wait, no. Who sent you? Look, we don't know what you're talking about, Dennis says. Something about out of the woods. But out in the woods. Are you alone? Are there others with you? The armed man asks, thrusting the gun in my face. How did we get in this situation? I think to myself. If we hadn't fallen into that hole, we wouldn't be here. I'm not really sure if we want to be giving this guy information. We don't know anything about him. Then again, he might have some answers. I frankly think it's just us, but if we're looking for a crew, the chances are there's a chance he might help us, and there's a chance he might just murder us all, because this is supposed to be a secret place. I could tell from the files that we have, this place is obviously doing something that is supposed to be secret, unlike everywhere else. So I mean, we're looking for a crew could explain how we got here. That's the best option I have. We have other crew members that we can't find anywhere. I say. Your crew, he asks, seeming confused. If this man thinks that we're nuts, there's no telling what he might do. The fact that he looks a little crazy himself makes the situation even hairier. But how'd you get in here, the man asks. I point down the hall towards the subway. We came in that way. The doors weren't locked. The man's expression calms a bit, but I'm still very aware of the gun that he has leveled less than a foot away from my face. To add to the stress, at the moment, another bout of nausea starts to bubble up inside of me, making me dizzy. Maybe going so close to that radioactive machine in the tunnel wasn't such a good idea. It takes all I have not to puke on the safe. Focus. Grab his gun. Please put the gun down. You calmly ask the man to back down. The only way I'm putting this rifle down is after I've blown your brains out, the man says. With that, he sticks the muzzle of the gun in my face. It's a childish move, a playground tactic at best, but it's sufficient to show me that he knows he's in control now. He then levels the rifle at Dennis, and I can only assume it's because his wounds make him appear the weaker of us. The man takes a shaky step forward. Dennis looks back. Step between the gun. You step between the gun and Dennis. Before I'm fully aware of what I'm doing, I step out in front of Dennis. The barrel of the rifle is nearly touching my chest now. Both Dennis and the man seem to be a little confused at my action. I do my best to swallow down my fear. I don't know what's going on here, I say. But we are here by mistake. Well, you have no business here, the man says. But now that the power is on, I think you might be too late anyway. For what, I ask. But he doesn't answer. Instead, he steps forward and actually pushes me backwards with the end of his rifle. The man then repeats a question he asked before, one of them that makes no sense, honestly. Makes me think he might be a little crazy. Who sent you? He asks. You from the Pentagon? Yeah, I am the president. I'm not quite sure how to take the question. This guy. Yeah, I'm the president. I almost want to do that because I have a feeling that's gonna get me shot, but I'm gonna say no. No, I say, we're just loggers. Something blew up and my friends got hurt. We're looking for the rest of the crew down here. Likely story, the man says, but I still see a flicker of recognition in his face that makes me think he might believe me. Still, he grips the gun as tight as ever. The look in his face makes me think he'll shoot at any moment. You both just stand still, he says. Sooner or later, someone will come along, and I'll turn you over. He again thrusts the gun forward as if he is invincible, as his bayonet on it. There is no need for that, I tell him. I have no guarantee that he won't pull the trigger. Look, Dennis says, we don't want any trouble. We're just as confused as you are. Then, in a moment so fast, I just about missed it. Dennis lunges forward. I have no idea how he was moving so fast. Just 30 seconds ago, I was worried about how close he was to death. He looked. I don't know. But now he's moving lightning fast. His left arm's coming down on the barrel of the gun, like a club. And the commotion, the man does pull the trigger. The booming noise is deafening, and there is a moment where I think I've been hit. It takes a clanging noise and the round of turning into the floor, my feet to help me realize that I have not been shot. I look at the floor and see where the shot missed my right leg by less than 3 inches. I'm paralyzed in shock in the moment as Dennis and the man fight in possession of the rifle. There's a fire extinguisher on the wall. I could use it to bludgeon, but I'm not got before Dennis is overpowered. We're a logger. We have manpower, don't we? We can knock him out. Dennis has the man pinned to the floor, but it isn't strong enough to keep him down. As I fall to the floor to help, the barrel of the rifle swings right in front of my face, a reminder of how close I had come with being shot. On my knees now, I deliver a hard, stiff punch to the man's face. I don't punch someone often, never. Really, I'm not usually the brawling type. Still, it's apparently effective, and the man's hands snap back hard, and his grip on the gun loosens. Dennis grabs the gun and falls to the floor, clearly winded in pain. Our attacker is immobilized, and I can feel a shift in the situation. Yet, although he is basically harmless now, I feel to pummel him, a desire that builds up. Keep punching. Now we're gonna stand up and step back. We have the gun now. He's definitely out now, no threat. Or at least that's what I think. But he surprises me by mustering up one more thrust to kick in the direction connecting with my forehead. My eyelid swells at the size of a grape almost immediately. It seems like the last attack is more spite to defend himself. I stumble back and ready for another round of blows, but he just slouches into the floor. He's done. Dennis instantly hands the rifle over to me, and I take it with the shaking hands. I can't believe you stepped back between me and the gun, Dennis says. He could have killed you. I was pretty sure he wouldn't, I'd say. Although, I had no such thing. Still, thanks, man. That's some heroic stuff. He would have done the same, right? Dennis says nothing. His eyes look at the floor. What do we do now, boss? Dennis says. We've come this far, and I want some answers, since that Dennis does too. I take a hard look at the man before I reply. We get some answers from this guy. No answers, the man says. I don't have any. Next time, I won't just hit you, I say, bludgeoning the rifle towards him. Now get up. He obeys quickly, but his legs are wobbly, and he leans against the wall for support. I could feel my swollen eyelid from where he kicked me earlier. I just hope it doesn't get so bad at the effects of my sight. Okay, let's move, I say, putting the gun forward down the hall. We've come this far, and I'm not going to let this guy stop us. We walk down the hallway until we come to the end. A single elevator waits for us. It's still sliding doors, larger than a larger than normal elevator. Oh, these chapters are long. Before I get into the elevator with this guy, I think it's wise to learn a bit more about him. I can tell it's making him uncomfortable for me to have the gun. What's your name, I ask. Marcus. And you work here? It's clear he doesn't want to answer, but he gives me a little nod. We're looking for the rest of our crew. Any ideas what they might be? No, he says currently, not bothering to be inebriated. There's got to be some useful info we can get out of this guy. Just need to know how to dig it from him. I need a first aid kit for my friend here, I say. Where might I find one? Down to the second floor, he says, but we can't go down there. What's on the second floor? He looks at me like I'm an idiot. You must have been aware of the inside classified government facility, he says. It makes sense, but we want to doubt it. Well, I'm sure our government would want to help save my friend, so take me to the first aid kit. I can't, he says. You don't have clearance. I barely have clearance. And seemingly to myself, he mutters, I make this place run. And I'm not even... Wait, what? And not even a thank you, just a bunch of restricted access rooms that I'm only allowed to go into with a freaking chaperone. Man, I'm messing up a lot. I interpret his monologue where going to the first aid kit. I could lose my job, he says. I wonder for a moment what sort of trouble I could get in for hitting a government employee. This makes me glad I took it easy on him. Then again, he had come at us with a rifle, and makes me think that things have gone terribly wrong in this place, and the explosion in the woods, or whatever it was, had happened, might be linked to it all. I need to convince him to take us to the second floor, but I'm not sure if I would be more productive to threaten him or ask him with sympathy. I have the gun. So whatever option I choose could depend on if he can trust us with the gun. Because if you think about it, if I threaten him, then he's going to be like more or less like not trust us at all with the gun. But if we ask him, we can kind of keep the gun in our possession. Look, I say, it hasn't been the best day. We're just trying to find out what's going on, to find our crew and to survive. I know that this isn't the real normal situation down here. It looks like all of your protocols have been blown. Can't you help us out? He looks at me in a stern, weighing his options. Okay, he says. Thank you, I say. With an untrustworthy stare, Marcus walks to the elevator door, approaching a small keypad by the doors. He punched in some numerical code on the keypad, and we can hear a slight mechanical hum behind the steel doors. After a few moments of angry glances and frightened snares from Marcus, the elevators arrive and the steel doors slide open with a whisper, revealing an interior. Okay, so let me think here. What just happened? We have code. We have seen codes and stuff for this type of stuff in the conference room. I remember because they were there. So will those codes come to use later? Is the question. That conference room gave me a lot of information. It's expectedly well lit and looks to be made of stainless steel. I have expected the thing to take off at the speed of light. There's another key card, or keypad, on the front right panel by the door, with the options for 3 sub-level floors. Looks like this elevator doesn't go to the surface, so after we get the first aid kit for Dennis, how do we get out of here, I ask. We can't leave, Marcus says. Once the power came back on, the whole place was put on lockdown. What? I shout. Can't you override it? No. To prevent anything from getting out, I can't. Marcus looks at a deflated as Dennis. We can't get out? We're stuck here? Dennis leads to the corner and almost falls onto the floor. The struggle for the rifle took a lot out of him. I can see that much in his face. Slowly we start to move down and grind. So we're stuck here forever is a pointless questioning because we literally just, answered it. The only real option we have is what can you do? Because the only real thing that we're going to get out of so we're stuck here forever is either he's going to tell us or something. But what can he do for us? Marcus bristles at the question, but I think it's fair. I mean, he's not allowed to unlock the doors or even get medical supplies. Why keep a guy around who can't even grab a band-aid without permission? Without me, nothing would get done here, Marcus answers me. These people think they're so brilliant, but some of them can barely turn their computers on without poop. Oh, that's depressing. The top coder is my class at MIT. MIT, whatever. And I'm stuck living underground, helping idiots who don't even trust me with keys. Either we get a layout of the place or we figure out what's going on here. I want a layout. It's a government facility of the highest security, Marcus says. A research facility. It goes 4 stories underground, and quite frankly, it scares that you two got in here so easily. Why is that, I ask. This is a Black Ops graveyard, he replies. Even the CIA doesn't know this place exists. What? Alright, wait. So, if we walk back down through the subway, we could get out, right? Because they have no idea that's an entrance area. So if we enter through there, and can we exit through there without problem? That might work. I don't know. I could guess his job as a security guard, considering he had a rifle. So what goes on here? Marcus shakes his head. You may as well shoot me. I can't tell you. Why not? I mean, we're stuck down here. It's beyond classified, and the things I know don't even cover the start of it. What's that mean, I ask, starting to get irritated. It means that even if I wanted to tell you what sort of work is done here, I don't know enough about it. Well, knock the lights out. Seems like some sort of power outage, Marcus says. That's all I know. There was an outage, and then what, Dennis asks weakly. Then things got weird. Things got bad. Bad how, I ask. The whole place seemed to shake, and when the lights went out, I was checking the monitors when it happened, and everything went dead. It took no more than a minute or so before I started hearing the screams. People were being killed by something. I tried getting the security cameras going again, but they only lasted for a little bit on my backup systems. But what I saw, I asked, feeling a sharp fear worm its way into my guts. Well, what I saw on the screens for a little bit of time made no sense. It made me get the gun from the emergency vault. I think whatever it is, it's still down here. Hold on, I say. There's something in the emergency vault with a rifle the same room as the security cameras in this place. Marcus gives me a grin that looks nearly insane. There are guns locked away in every room in this place. Just in case, you know? I want to say just in case for what, to confirm my suspicion that there are things here that can kill us. Because if we know for sure, as he opens his mouth, the answer, okay, so it wouldn't matter anyways. The elevator door comes to a stop and slides open. Marcus is out right away without a word. He makes his exit and just heads directly from the glasses-in room that is filled with computer monitors and high-end equipment. Dennis and I file out behind him, trying to keep up. As we do, one of the very alarming questions runs through my head. What the kind of government facility keeps loaded guns in an emergency vault in every single room? This is the end of chapter 2. Oh, let's go! That's interesting. Oh, wow, it's kicking up quick. That's nice. Alright, let's see what type of choices we got. Curiosity. 61% ignored the warning sign. Looked in the glowing selflessness. Stepped in front of the gun. Mercy. 65% went easy on Marcus after he surrendered. I was in the majority there, which I question. Okay, so that's not really the amount of choices that we thought we had. I like the way how a lot of people ignored the warning sign and looked at the glowing reactor. I think moving towards the right path would have changed a lot of these choices. If not, we would probably still enter the same way through a different way somehow. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Buried. It's gonna be interesting real quick. I'm starting to like this a lot. Knowing the choices, some choices matter. It looks like these are the ones that matter the most. Or interesting. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you guys next episode. Bye bye. This is going great. I like this.